long box diving, where we pull comics out of the long box. The last one we ended on, Reaper was bringing down his axe, ready to chop off the head of Quicksilver, and that's where it stopped. Right now we're picking back up. This is the middle of the arc, right? This is it. This is where it picks up. And immediately, right off the bat, Havoc is there. And he throws Reaper off kilter. And it's a cool panel where he does that. And then Psylocke hits him in the brain with a side blast, and he's out, man. Like this villain that was set up as the end bad guy of the comic gets knocked out in 2 pages. That's great. You know you're in like the middle where people start getting knocked out, right? Storm has a cool ability where she does the lightning on Dragon-S, whatever her name is, and her wings are metal, so she gets which is great to see. There's Speedball holding up an old ally, and this is an interesting dynamic because you have old members of the New Mutants who are part of the MLF now, who follow Stryfe. And the New Mutants, Speedball, Boom Boom, they're trying to get their old comrades to be like, hey guys, you are being crazy. Stop that. Come on. Come back with us. And no, these guys are having none of that. None. There's an interesting moment that I like, and I'm glad they have these in the middle of fights, is Bobby is talking to Archangel, and it's like, yo, dude, are you okay? You just cut off a dude's head. And Archangel's like, yeah, it's an accident. Don't worry about me. I'm Macho Man Randy Savage. And Iceman's like, dude, I'm not letting you off the hook with that. Something's not okay with you, right? I can tell. Great dynamic. I love when comics have that because it feels more realistic, you know? Because, yeah, if you see one of your friends do something that would horrify anybody, you would be like, hey, are you okay? I know we're still fighting, but dude, you just killed a dude. That's pretty new for most of us. We go back to Canada, where Bishop, Cable, and Wolverine are running away from Department K. K for Canada. Department K is still chasing them, following after the 3, because like the 3 of them just murdered a whole bunch of, killed. Not entirely clear, but we're gonna presume they killed them. A whole bunch of soldiers in Department K looking for files, and they ended up not finding files. They did find Cable, but they didn't find what they were looking for. So they just went up to Canada and killed Canadians. And that was the entire point of that, is for them to find Cable, and have a fight with Cable, because that was pretty cool. But yeah, the 3 of them look like macho men running from the Department K, and they're all like, they're big buff boys, running. Even Logan, who's a short dude, and yeah, he looks like he's a muscle builder in this. And Cable's like, Professor, body slide by 3. That's not how Cable sounds, but he does say that, and they Scotty teleport all the way out to his secret base, you know, like that. Of course, Wolverine also isn't a teleporter. He doesn't like that. This panel, we get to another moment where people are still fighting. There's still drama going on, but it's like a moment of, okay, let's step back off the gas pedal for a second. We have characters who can talk to each other. If you remember, all the way back in the first comic of this run, Bobby Drake, Iceman was talking to Colossus saying, hey, look, are you okay? Your brother just died. And Colossus has a moment where he's like pounding the dirt, digging up grass, and is just exercising essentially to work out his emotional issues. And he's just boom, boom, boom. And he's like, Mikhail, you never got to see your younger sister, who's magic. And I barely knew about you, but when I found you, and now I've lost you again, and you're dead, and I feel terrible. And he's not talking to anyone, but he's working through it in his own way. This is how Colossus is working through his problem, is by just going out and doing some exercise, beating up the dirt. And Strong Guy comes out there. He doesn't offer any condolences. He doesn't say, hey, look, I feel terrible for you. He's like, here's some coffee. I put creamer, some other cream, and then Jack Daniels. Here's your coffee. And Colossus takes it and like, is there any news? Is there any good news? And Strong Guy, I like this line because it gives him that relationship of, I understand you. This is something that I'm helping you with, right? I don't have to say it. I don't have to be condolences or pat you on the back. But this is something where I can relate to you and give you something. He's like, you know, the only good news is that I put too much Jack Daniels in there. And that's all Strong Guy says. That's it. But it works because it gives him a sort of bond of, you know, he's not working through his feelings per se, but Strong Guy is still there for him to help him out. If for nothing else, to get Colossus on his feet to keep him from being depressed. Professor X still has no good news, and the technovirus has essentially turned most of his outer skin to tech. That's what it does. It's now about to co-opt his organs, his internal organs, the things that he's still using to live. And so desperate times call for desperate measures. Beast is going to go and try to surgically remove the bullet that's causing the virus. And if you remember, the bullet is in Xavier's brain. So, in an effort to keep his internal organs from being technofied, Beast is going to surgically remove the bullet and try not to kill or lobotomize Professor X. And if he does, that would be interesting, right? I haven't read too far ahead yet. If Beast, say, accidentally damages a part of Xavier's brain, right, in this process, let's say the technovirus reverses, but Professor X now can't use his powers. He knows he has them, but that part of his mutant identity is gone because Beast screwed up. That would be a cool storyline, right? Or plot point where Professor X is having to struggle with, one, not hating Beast. Even though Beast saves his life, I'm getting on a tangent. That'd be a cool comic. Let me know if it's actually out there, because I would love to read that. Stryfe is still, he's still toying with Scott and Jean. They have no idea why he even would, but he's toying them. He's like, if I can learn how to feed a baby, so can you two. And he's punishing those two for something they haven't done yet. Spoilers! But then Stryfe goes and does something actually cool. He goes all the way to Apocalypse's temple, knocks down the wall, knocking out one of the Dark Riders. And then he's like, okay, you're weak, you're weak, you're weak. And he just goes through beating them up, moving through them, knocking all of the henchmen out. And he goes to Apocalypse's pod, rips it open. Apocalypse gets out, stretches, like, who are you? And Stryfe has a decent line for once. He's like, I am Stryfe. Remember that name because it's going to be the one that kills you. How do you remember something when you're dead? I don't know. Mutant powers. And that's it for that comic, right? That's part 7 of the arc. Pretty good. I like they finished up fighting the EMLF. There's some touching moments of character development. I liked it. Cool fighting, cool development. This comic was just a lot of fun. Then we get to, excuse that. Then we get to the next one, and it begins right off the bat with a full page cover. You'll see it, but it's the page itself is turned sideways, and it's showing Apocalypse being thrown by Stryfe and being just beat up, pummeled left and right. Stryfe is stronger than Apocalypse at this moment. Remember, Apocalypse just woke up. He went back to bed for about 30 minutes, and now he's back awake and is getting beat up. He does not have the strength. He barely managed to beat up 6 of X-Men, right? And now Stryfe, a villain, a powerful villain, is just knocking him out, right? And Apocalypse gets one good hit, and Stryfe's helmet flies off. And of course, it's Cable. That is his face. He has the glowing eye. He has the scar. That is Cable. He also has perm hair. Villain's got time for that. And he's like, yeah, Master of the Time Stream, Destroyer of the Past, and my future, it is I. And he's like, yeah, I am Cable. And Apocalypse is like, I thought I killed you. What are you doing alive, man? That's a cool moment. And that is the first time in this run that we at least see Stryfe's face. I think it happens earlier, but it's not in this story arc. But we know this is Cable. So where does this line up? Now, if you remember, Cable in the comics is a time traveler, okay? All the way back since his first issue, he's from the future, and he went back in time. If you saw the Deadpool movies, he's a time traveler in that too, right? And he's still a powerful mutant, but most of his power is being held back because he's fighting the Technovirus. His whole arm is technified. Stryfe does not have that limitation as far as I can tell. He's not having to hold back any of his power. Which would be an interesting character dynamic. Well, can Cable fight himself even though Cable is limited? Sometimes. But Apocalypse is being beat up and taken out, and he rolls, and he has a dagger in his chest, and he rolls to his teleporter, and he Deus Ex Machina all the way out of there. Gets out, man. And Stryfe's like, no! You have foiled my plans! We then go back and see Bishop, Cable, and Wolverine in like the little home where Cable's been sleeping. I think it's in space somewhere. But it's from the future. It still has Professor hooked up in there. It's all AI automated kind of thing. And it's a place to plan. It's a war room. They literally call it a war room. And so they're discussing, and Cable's like, hey, Logan, put the cigarette out. And Wolverine does not, and then the ship itself puts it out for him. Just covers his face in foam, and Cable's like, sorry, Logan, like, I don't care either way, but from the future, this is considered pretty dumb for you to be smoking at all. And there's some laws against it. Wolverine ain't having that, you know. But he's talking to him. He's like, okay, here's Stryfe, right? And Cable learned who Stryfe really is. Cable knows Stryfe is Cable. A different version, maybe? Different timeline? Not clear yet as far as I know. Well, I know, but so far in this arc it has not been explained of how could there be two Cables at once? But he tells the other two, he's like, this is who Stryfe is. I fought him before. I know about him. We get to another panel talking about the operation, and they're going to go in and take the bullet out. There's not a lot of good hope. Then we get a X-Force time. Okay. X-Force is the majority of the team is still locked up in prison. But instead of just being in a room, they're now behind bars, electrified bars, and no one's happy about it. Other members of the X-Men are X Factor, X-Men, etc., etc. Are talking to people like, hey, look, how can you not remember? I missed you. I wish it could be better, kind of thing, blah, blah, blah. But if you remember, there was one member one member of X-Force who, because Boom Boom. So I guess two. Maybe more, but two that I'm aware of X-Force members that were let go to go and help with the fight. Speedball and Boom Boom. Well, Speedball goes down there. It's like, hey guys, how are you doing? And none of them are happy. You have Warpath, Richter, Siren, Pharaoh, and the others. I can't remember the names, guys. I'm sorry. And they're like, none of them are happy. I think it's Roberto. But he's like, yeah, we're doing good. Yeah, cool. They are not happy. Speedball they did nothing wrong. They're being treated like animals, locked up, criminals who did nothing wrong. And Speedball is out there helping the captors instead of sticking with his team. He's supposed to be the leader, as far as I can tell, and he's not with his team. He's out helping fight the MLF, their old teammates too, and the rest of them are being kept captive. Like, that's not cool, man. Then we go back to Stryfe has been away. While the cat's away, the mice play, and Scott and Jean get out. If you've been wondering how in the world, like, Jean Grey didn't have her powers, well, now you know, because this panel says pretty clearly Stryfe was limiting their powers. It wasn't like a force field. The room wasn't a dampener because we saw Scott use his powers. No, straight up, Stryfe himself kept their powers in check with his mind. That is epic, man. He is keeping the powers of Jean Grey locked down completely just with his own abilities and has no issues whatsoever. That is cool. But they get out and they're trying to escape. Apocalypse is sitting in front of television screens and is talking about his future plans. And then our last couple panels, Apocalypse flies into the Xavier mansion, and he's like, I need help. We gotta fight Stryfe. Well, Strife's at home watching all the plans, moving all the chess pieces. He let Scott and Jean go. I swear to you, he let them go. I have not read ahead, but he has a plan for them, and he let them go because he's still at the base and he could control their powers still. But Apocalypse is like, we need to work together, and Archangel is pissed because, again, their whole history. But I'm excited that the pieces are moving on the board. Stryfe is a villain who's set up as he's already beat Apocalypse, but now you have the three teams of X-Men, and where are they gonna go? Will Wolverine and Bishop get back with Cable to let free X-Force. Like, guys, come on, let free X-Force. Free X-Force. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.